Just days after GloRilla was charged with marijuana possession, JT released a video so fiery and direct that fans immediately recognized it as shade.
Talking about the city girls, like the city girls ain't give y'all raggedy y'all personality. Don't play with me.
This one clip turned their quiet tension into an open war, and we've got all the details. Let's break it down. The streets never forget when keeping it real goes wrong. The whole hip-hop community was still processing the shocking news of GloRilla getting locked up when JT decided it was time to show out. For those who missed it, Glo was arrested in Forsyth County, Georgia on serious felony drug charges after her house was raided while she was out of town performing at the WNBA All-Star Game.
GloRilla was arrested in Georgia on felony drug charges and was booked Tuesday in Forsyth County, Georgia. She posted a $22,000 bond. What they didn't know was that she had family staying with her and her family.
The streets were fired up, and for good reason. Even Glo had to jump on X to clear the air, saying her house was invaded on Saturday while she was in Indianapolis performing at the WNBA All-Star Game. And instead of tracking down the suspects, the focus turned to some cannabis. Then JT said bet and chose a whole new approach. With no warning shots at all, she went live looking lit, dropping what the culture is calling indirect but deadly smoke aimed straight at GloRilla's head.
The city girls, like the city girls ain't give y'all raggedy y'all personality.
She didn't drop Glo's government name or anything, but anyone with half a brain could tell exactly who she was aiming at. The ops caught the energy right away. This wasn't some random drunk rant either. It was calculated, cold-blooded. Retaliation served on a silver platter. Just a couple weeks earlier, these two had already clashed at the MTV VMAs, turned into a full-blown altercation that had security rushing in to pull them apart after Glo allegedly sent a pursuer. Maybe a drink flying at JT's head.
JT snubbed her off, like in a very nasty, catty way. GloRilla went in to try to speak, and JT kind of gave like, GloRilla wasn't feeling that. And GloRilla threw a drink at JT. And then the girl said,
but check this out. JT's attitude wasn't just random hate. Word on the street is her whole vibe was salty because of something that went down at Beyoncé's concert a week before the VMAs. Both of them were in the building that night, but according to the T-Spillers, JT and Young Miami tried to slide into Yodi's VIP section where Glo was already posted up, and security ended up walking them out like regular groupies. That embarrassing moment really had JT in her feelings, no cap. So when the VMAs came around, she saw her chance to get some get back and played Glo to the left in front of the whole industry. But things got real spicy because Glo wasn't about to take that disrespect lying down, according to people who saw it. Baby girl let her hands do the talking after throwing that projectile at JT, turning the backstage into a full-on war zone. These two clearly don't like each other anymore. First, they clashed after that Beyoncé concert, then fought backstage at the VMAs. And now, with Glo facing charges, JT couldn't resist twisting the knife deeper. What makes it worse is how JT flipped the script, acting like the victim even though she started the drama in the first place. Just look at how she moved on that live stream. It's tossing shade with passive-aggressive superiority vibes, then talking about loyalty, backstabbing friends, people messing with her property. Everyone in the comments immediately connected it back to her beef with Glo. The timing was diabolical too, since JT dropped that rant just hours after blogs confirmed Glo had caught felony charges. That wasn't coincidence. She knew exactly what she was doing, saw Glo trending for all the wrong reasons, and decided this was her moment. But what makes the whole thing even more twisted is the deeper history between them that's been kept low-key from the public. The truth is, their beef didn't start at the VMAs or at Queen Bee's concert. Coates goes way deeper, rooted in industry politics, personal betrayals, and some alleged street business that would make even seasoned veterans uncomfortable.
Prepping the other day, and I couldn't even prep for this show because I was reading about you on Twitter. And I was like, everybody was blowing on my phone. Did you see what's going on Twitter? So tell me, why did you feel the need to pop off on JT so hard?
Everything just always everything. At the end of the day, that day gonna end.
Yeah, hello. and it's all.
The real drama actually kicked off back in September 2022, when GloRilla's collabed with Cardi B on Tomorrow to blew up into a massive hit. What most people don't know is that this success allegedly sparked real tension with JT because fans claimed Cardi's verse had slick shots aimed at her and the City Girls. On top of that, JT had been riding with Nicki Minaj, who's been beefing with Cardi for years, which only poured more gasoline on an already burning fire.
Everything is everything.
Listen, and then I gotta talk to you about Megan Thee Stallion and the new track. So tell me all about working with her on such a great song.
I love Megan. She's a wonderful person. She's so fun. That's my girl. You know what I'm saying? And I taught her how to twerk.
Oh no, for real?
Yeah,
you taught that how to twerk.
I taught her how to twerk. Yeah.
Oh man, that's amazing.
What started as professional competition quickly turned into something personal and vindictive. Industry insiders began noticing subliminal shots and coded messages in both artists' social media posts, interviews, and even their music. The hip-hop community, always hungry for drama, started picking sides and amplifying every slight, creating an echo chamber that made peace almost impossible. But before diving deeper into this mess, we need to keep it real about where Glo came from, because her background explains a lot about why she moves the way she does and why this beef hits different than typical industry drama. From the bottom to the top, the hood made a monster. To really understand why things got so messy, you have to know GloRilla's story and how the streets shaped her into who she is today. Born Gloria Hallelujah Woods on July 28, 1999 in Memphis, Tennessee, she grew up in the Fraser neighborhood of North Memphis. And if you know that area, you know it isn't for the weak. Fraser used to be a decent middle-class spot, but by the time Glo was growing up, it had been hit hard by economic struggles and everything that came with it. As the eighth of 10 children and a big blended family, her early life was all about survival. They slept on pallets instead of real beds, and poverty shaped everything about how she moved. The wild part about her story is that she was raised in one of the strictest religious households you could imagine. She was homeschooled until 5th grade to keep her away from outside influences. And her parents enforced militant rules: no secular music, no Christmas, no Valentine's Day, no Easter, no Halloween. The only holidays allowed were the 4th of July and Thanksgiving. Gospel artists like Kirk Franklin and Donnie McClurkin were always playing in the house. And Glo sang solos in the church choir from age 5 to 12, dreaming of becoming a gospel star. But you know how it goes. The more you try to keep someone away from something, the more they want it. The restrictions actually laid the foundation for Glo's first hustles as she and her siblings schemed to get their hands on forbidden secular music. This is where things got real hood real fast. They started boosting CDs from Walmart, mainly Lil Wayne and Drake albums, to load songs onto a PlayStation 4 secret listening sessions. Her older brothers even turned it into a side hustle, selling the stolen CDs at school. Before blowing up, Glo worked regular jobs at Checkers drive-thru and Walmart, keeping herself entertained by going live on social media during shifts. She quit those jobs around 2018 to 2019 to focus fully on music, dropping her first freestyle on Facebook and hitting studios with encouragement from her family. The grind paid off in 2022 when everything changed. In April, Glo dropped FNF. Let's Go with producer Hit Kid, a raw anthem about single life and female empowerment that was made in just 30 minutes. The track exploded on TikTok through the hashtag FNFC challenge, with users recreating its energy and pushing it into the Billboard Hot 100's top 50. That viral wave caught Yo Gotti's attention. And by July 2022, he signed her to his CMG label, making her the first female artist on the roster. FNF even earned a Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards in 2023. Talk about going from 0 to 100 real quick. But it was GloRilla's collab with Cardi B that truly set off the chain of events with JT. Tomorrow 2 became her first top 10 hit and went double platinum. The success was huge, but it came with consequences that would haunt her for years. This is where the real drama started brewing in the background. What began as professional competition quickly turned into something way more personal and nasty. Industry insiders began spotting subtle shots and coded references in both artists' social media, interviews, and music. The hip-hop community, always thirsty for drama, picked sides and amplified every slight, creating a toxic environment where reconciliation was nearly impossible. The tension simmering under the surface finally exploded in the most public way. Things reached a breaking point in April 2024 when GloRilla dropped her mixtape Anyways, Life's Great. With a track called 8 that directly addressed the growing beef, on the song, Glo rapped, "Me and JT ain't the best of friends, but we ain't beefing, no. It's always having Anna that they keep a secret." What Glo thought was her way of extending an olive branch and promoting unity among female rappers. JT took as the ultimate insult and manipulation tactic. Jate's response was immediate and ruthless, hopping on social media with a series of posts that showed how deep her anger ran and how personal the conflict had become. She called Glo messy and fake, exposing behind-the-scenes drama during collaborations. In what might be the most dramatic escalation yet, JT even posted her past mugshots with an empty slot, basically threatening to add another one by physically confronting Glo. Glo clapped back just as hard, calling JT's wigs ugly and accusing her of the same fake animosity she was being accused of. She confirmed she had hit JT with a purse at the VMAs, not a slap like people assumed. Dan threatened to pull up at one of JT's backyard BBQ shows. The online war dragged on for hours, with both women trading personal shots about everything from looks to career moves. Fans only fueled the fire, pitting Glo's big Glo supporters against JT's Juvies in a non-stop social media battle. By November 2024, both sides seemed to cool down. In an interview, Glo said, "I didn't come in wanting to get into beef with anybody but me and JT actually cool, blaming fans for fueling the drama and insisting she never wanted conflict." JT seemed to agree, and the two publicly claimed they were good. The hip-hop world thought the beef was over, but behind the scenes the resentment was still bubbling like lava waiting to erupt. The piece was fake, built on PR moves, not forgiveness. And when Glo ended up in handcuffs in July 2025, that fragile facade crumbled in the most spectacular way. What the public didn't know was that even darker allegations were about to come out, exposing the true depth of hatred between these two women and revealing a web of betrayal, conspiracy, and revenge that made their public feuds look like child's play. But first, let's talk about what really went down that led to Glo's arrest, because the story is way more complex and twisted than what hit the headlines. This was the ultimate violation when your ops strike at your lowest moment. Summer 2025 was supposed to be GloRilla's victory lap, but instead it became the backdrop for one of the most savage betrayals in hip-hop history. July 19th, 2025 should have been another triumphant night as Glo blessed the WNBA All-Star Game halftime show in Indianapolis. But while she was on stage, grimy individuals were running up in her Georgia crib, setting off a chain of events that left her fighting for her freedom. Around 1:30 a.m. on July 20th, deputies in Forsyth County got a call about a burglary in progress at Glo spot in the upscale St. Marlowe Country Club neighborhood outside Atlanta. 3 suspects had broken into the house, looking for high-value items like jewelry, leaving family members traumatized. Someone inside was strapped and let off shots at the intruders, who fled without getting hit. Here's where things turned. Twisted, the deputies caught wind of loud pack inside the home and called in the Lanier Regional Drug Task Force, who secured a search warrant. The search turned up about 2.8 pounds of weed and 2 jars of THC wax, which Georgia law classifies as a Schedule I controlled substance. So let's break it down. Glo's house gets violated, her family gets traumatized, and somehow she ends up in cuffs. That's backwards logic. On July 22nd, Glo did the stand-up thing and turned herself in, getting booked onto felony charges, possession of marijuana and possession of a Schedule I substance. She posted a $22,260 bond and was released the same day, but the hit to her reputation was already done. She jumped on X to vent, saying, "My house gets home invaded and I'm the only one arrested," breaking down how instead of chasing suspects, police focused on cannabis. But while Glo was being victimized twice, first by burglars, then by the system, JT was lurking, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. What came next has been called one of the most psychologically devastating moves in hip-hop history. July 2025, brought explosive allegations that shattered any illusion of peace between them. According to multiple sources, Glo had allegedly been plotting to have JT jumped at a Memphis show, possibly timed to distract people with JT's beef with Suki Hana. The plan reportedly unraveled when Gloss Up, Glo's former friend and fellow, Memphis rapper, snitched to JT and showed her the group chats as proof. Gloss Up, who was signed to Quality Control at the time, allegedly passed the info since she and JT were label mates, sparking a FaceTime confrontation between JT and Glo, during which the hired muscle backed out. The betrayal cut deeper than any diss, turning a professional rivalry into something much more personal and dangerous. When Glo's arrest hit the blogs, JT saw her chance for revenge. Instead of clout chasing with public posts, she went for something colder, a private, targeted strike. Sources close to both camps said JT recorded a video message specifically for Glo, never meant for social media, but delivered directly to her through intermediaries. It's described by those who saw it. The video showed JT calm and confident, speaking straight to the camera like she'd been waiting for this moment. The message reportedly went beyond her public live, addressing Glo's legal troubles with fake sympathy and thinly veiled satisfaction. JT was said to methodically break down Glo's complaints about the police, flipping it to say someone who allegedly plotted violence against other women deserved whatever came back to her. But it wasn't just about celebrating her downfall. It was about calling out the alleged jump plot directly, showing disappointment and anger at Glo for planning an attack after their so-called peace. The psychological toll of receiving that message while facing prison time, dealing with a home invasion, and watching her career dangle was brutal. In hip-hop's ruthless world, vulnerability isn't met with mercy, it's seen as an opening. The timing made it even crueler, hitting Glo at her weakest. Word of the video spread quickly through industry circles, with insiders and influencers alluding to it without revealing details, which only fueled the mystery. Glo now knew damaging. Words about her were circulating, but couldn't control the narrative. Friends and associates on both sides admitted the video hit its mark. It broke her down exactly the way JT wanted. Glo, already under immense stress from her legal troubles, was reportedly shaken by the video's contents and by the realization that her past actions had created an enemy ready to strike at her lowest point. This wasn't an isolated moment. Either Glo had a history with the law, including a DUI arrest in April 2024 in Georgia after getting pulled over around 4 a.m. For making an illegal U-turn at a red light, she failed multiple field sobriety tests and was hit with charges for DUI, marijuana possession, and an open container violation. The pattern painted the picture of a young woman whose success may have outpaced her street smarts. But the bigger implications of this saga go far beyond a personal rivalry between two artists. It highlights the dangerous intersection of street credibility and mainstream fame in hip-hop, where artists often struggle to balance the raw authenticity that made them stars with the legal and professional responsibilities that come with success. As Glo fights her cases and tries to salvage her career, JT's chilling video stands as a reminder that in this game, yesterday's allies can turn into tomorrow's enemies, and success almost always paints a target on your back. The same young woman who went from boosting CDs in Memphis to Grammy nominations now faces a future where her past decisions, both legal and personal, threaten to undo everything she built. The story is still unfolding, with both women holding their public positions while privately wrestling with the fallout of years of resentment and betrayal. As of July 29, 2025, just one day after Glo's 26th birthday, the case remains active. The video remains a psychological weapon, and the future remains uncertain for one of hip-hop's most promising yet troubled stars. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.